Hey, deserving listeners, 90 Day Fiancé, The Single Life. Let's watch.
She's got the good and not coming back to me. Wonder where she...
So I will say that the music now, I don't know if it's changed or I'm just noticing it, but the music interludes that they have on 90 Day Fiancé on all the shows is a lot better than it was in the past. In the past, I felt like they were picking just these generic beats with like generic vocals or generic keyboard sounds. And now some of them are straight up jams that I'm like, wow, that's a good song.
Spend the night, but I don't wanna know.
I mean, I'm pretty sure they're still generic songs that people write knowing that they're going to be put on a television show or something. And sometimes the lyrics are like spot on with what's happening, you know, like there's a breakup and the songs will be like, oh, we just broke up and we don't, you know. So, I mean, they're not like songs I'm going to listen to on Spotify or anything, but I will say that the music sounds better than it was before.
I didn't find love with Coyote. It just didn't work out. And I haven't heard from her. And since then, I've had one of the worst things that could ever happen to you happen. Teddy passed away.
Wow. Yeah, that's rough. I mean, say what you will or think what you will about Ed, but for Teddy to have passed away, that's really rough and that's really sad. And it's interesting how many deaths occur while people are on the show, whether it's a parent or an animal, a pet. And we know that they were very close, so that's pretty sad. I don't know if I've reacted to what's happened with Ed, but Coyote didn't show up to a date that they were going to have, and Ed took it as a clear indication that she didn't want to be in a relationship with him anymore. And if I'm trying to remember, it's a few episodes ago, the last time they even talked. I think there was this moment where she was saying, you know, don't talk. I just want to sit here and be silent, because I think she was saying, you're always saying that we have a connection. I think what she was saying is, I don't feel like there's a connection really, but you keep saying there's a connection. You keep trying to further this relationship in a really quick way. And I think what Coyote was thinking was it seems not authentic. It seems disingenuous. It seems fake. It seems like you're trying to trick me, or it doesn't feel good to me. I think that's what was. I don't know. It's a lot of speculation. I also think that she just didn't feel anything with him. I'm guessing, and just decided to stand him up, which isn't great. She should have called him and said, "Look, it's just not working out." But yeah, so the relationship is over, I guess.
This is his little shark outfit. And it was so cute. Anyways, I'm sorry.
And the grief that we feel when we lose a pet is real. I can't believe that we still have to assert that people feel bad or wrong or ashamed of having extreme grief reactions to one of their pets dying. It's the same as losing a family member. It doesn't have to be. You could lose a pet and have the grief not be that severe. You could lose a family member and have it. Grief is what it is. It's just our reaction to something. And but for a lot of people, when we lose a pet, the grief never ends. For me, not all the pets, because I've had a lot of pets over the years, but some of them I was very, very close to. And my dog, when I was growing up, I feel really bad about the way that it ended, because I was in college at the time, and she had apparently potentially been killed and eaten by coyotes in the woods. And my mom said that she could hear the dog crying, and I feel like I should have been there, or I don't know, I should have looked more around, but I don't know, I was like 19 and just my focus was elsewhere, and there's obviously nothing I could have done, but I don't know, there's just something about that loss that I feel like there's not closure. And it just breaks my heart to think about. Anyway, so there are, to be clear, just so I tell the story. I went to college. I was very attached to my dog Pfeffer, which I think means pepper in German. I'm not sure. She was a German Schnauzer, very smart. A lot of German Schnauzers, miniature Schnauzers, are yippy dogs. She was not. We lived in a semi-rural suburban area where there were no leashes or fences, and all the dogs in the neighborhood just roamed free. And she was one of those dogs, and she was very smart. She almost, to some extent, saved my little brother's life one time by making sure that he was okay this one time. Anyway, she was like Lassie. She was like extremely smart and protective and wonderful and always there for me through thick and thin. I mean, just imagine all the stuff you go through when you're in middle school and high school, and I have distinct memories of her being there for me. And anyway, so I go to college, and my focus is just completely on college and just not at home. And my focus was no longer with the dog. Because the dog was a family dog. She wasn't my dog. I have 3 siblings and 2 parents, and so she was everyone's dog. So it wasn't my responsibility. But I left for college, and I was at the University of Washington. So yeah, I was close, but I just didn't really think about her very much. And then one day, my mom told me that Pfeffer had died, and I asked how it happened, and she said, "Well, I thought I might have heard. She didn't come home one night, and that would happen sometimes. She just would go roaming around somewhere, and so we just figured she'd come back eventually." And I thought I heard some crying, but I don't know. And then she didn't come back. And then days went by. We looked around. We couldn't find her. And we think maybe the coyotes got her. And at the time, if my memory is that when I heard about it, I was just like, huh. And then my focus just went back to college and all my college friends and all the activities and studies and everything. And I just didn't. I feel like if I was older and more mature and just my prefrontal cortex was more online, I would have really reckoned with the loss. I would have been like, okay, it happened. Wait, what? And I mean, if it were today, I would have, looked, I would have done a search pattern through the woods to at least find remnants of her or something. I'd be like, I can't rest at night until I find evidence or something, or at least I try, but I didn't do anything. And then years later, it hit me. It was years later. It's just like, I remember I was like, Mom, what happened to Pfeffer? I don't. And she told me, and again, I'm like, well, why didn't I do anything? And again, it's not my fault, right? But I just, that whole thing just feels, it almost feels like I wasn't there for her, which of course isn't true. But these are the kinds of thoughts that we have when someone in our family dies, perhaps. That someone gets in a car accident and somehow you blame yourself because you weren't there for them. Or someone dies in the hospital and you were extremely busy with work and you just couldn't get away. And for decades you feel ashamed that you didn't drop everything and fly back home or something. There are thoughts that we have, and it's real, and there's no silver lining. It's just pain and suffering and regret, and it happens. And it doesn't mean we don't seek resolution to some extent, but there's really, for me anyway, I don't think there's any way to reconcile. I mean, unless she comes down as an angel or something and says, "You're forgiven," or I don't know, it makes me want to cry thinking about that. But anyway, so some of us get very connected and attached in the same way that we do with humans, and that shouldn't be a mystery to us. That's why we have animals. I mean, why do we have pets that will, and we literally pick up their poop and we buy their food, and they don't work for us, they don't earn any money for us, but so why do we have them? Well, it's because of attachment. They love us back. They never yell at us. They never criticize us. They listen to us. I've written songs about this that'll make me cry if I read the lyrics. But and so, yeah, we get attached. And so, Ed lost his dog, and I think we can all kind of relate to that. Hey, deserving listeners, as y'all know, I am constantly recommending that people go to therapy. We all need therapy from time to time. Well, one of the options available that is definitely worth checking out is BetterHelp. If you're looking for a therapist, I would give it a try by going to betterhelp.com/Kirk. Make sure you use the promo code Kirk because you get 10% off your first month, and it really helps us out. As you watch these videos, I know many of you have been motivated to find your own therapist, which is great because you deserve it. And I know also that it can be hard to find a good fit, find the right one for you. Well, one of the options available in terms of your shopping is to go to betterhelp.com/Kirk. I've been told you can start communicating with your therapist in under 24 hours. You can message your counselor at any time. Plus, you can schedule weekly video or phone sessions. I've also been told that it's often less expensive than in-person therapy, and you should know that this service is available to clients worldwide. So go to betterhelp.com/Kirk to get 10% off your first month today.
I probably dozed off for like maybe 30 minutes, and I woke up and he was gone. He was still warm, but the hardest part was was I had to pull myself together, and I had to wrap him in a blanket because I didn't want anybody to know that he died.
Oh, that's rough. I mean, and we all need to think about this, how the process of dying and what memories we're going to make as our loved ones, pets or humans, die. And because would it have been better if Ed had considered, putting the dog down earlier? Would that have been better for everyone, including the dog? I don't know. Obviously, I'm not criticizing, but at any rate, having the dog die right next to you while it's suffocating, I mean, it just breaks your heart. And I've had that experience before, actually. Really every time that I've put an animal down, they're just looking at you and they depend on you, and you're just like, it's the worst. It is really the worst. It's just terrible.
People started sending me flowers. There's one set of flowers that I got, and I couldn't figure out who it was from. It wasn't until I looked on my Ring camera and I saw that it was somebody that was very special to me in my life. I started to reach out. I really think she's the one. I am sort of moving fast, so I haven't quite learned that lesson, but I'm willing to take a chance at love.
All right, he's acknowledging that he's moving fast, and he's saying, I haven't learned that lesson. So what does that mean? Does that mean he knows that he just moves fast, or that he moves fast possibly because of a psychological reason, an attachment insecurity reason of, please love me, I don't feel safe unless I have you in my camp, let's just say. All right, well, that does it for that episode. Everyone out there, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.